Welcome. If you are a new cleaning business owner or you've been in business for a while, at some point you've probably wanted to get more clients, right? So that's our topic for today. How do you get more cleaning clients, specifically residential clients, but also small boutique storefronts? So think yoga studios, salons, light studios, but this also works with offices as well because we use the same thing to get small offices too. So let's get right into it. The number one thing that you want to do, whether you're just starting out or you have a huge clientele, is you want to leverage that clientele to get more business. So I don't care if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clients or 300 clients, you still want to really have a system for leveraging that current clientele to continue getting more. So let's talk through that. Okay, so this is going to be like the cycle of bringing on new clients and how to get more. So they start out as a lead, right? So we'll talk about how to get more leads, but right now, let's just say that you've got some leads. Those leads turn into clients. When those clients come on board, now they need their service fulfilled, right? So you need a way to make sure that you actually have the capacity to continuously bring on more clients. I'm gonna be honest, that's a video in and of itself, so we're just gonna leave it there for now. If you guys have any specific questions about how to always increase your capacity and not be stuck at a certain capacity, meaning you bring on a certain number of clients and then you kind of can't bring on anymore because everything else starts to break down, let me know, leave it in the comments below. These are the crucial steps right here. So I'll put a link to the study down below. I think it was with Forbes or something, but 88% of people will trust a good review just as much as they'll trust a direct referral. So if I were to tell my friend how much I loved this service, so 88% of people who see a review are going to trust that just as much. So it's extremely important and makes your life a lot easier. Okay, so the one thing that can happen here is you fulfill the service, right? And then you get a great review. That great review then feeds into a lot of things. SEO, making it easier for you to close clients. It actually generates leads as well. Okay, so you really want that great review. The other thing that can happen is you get no review, right? This happens a lot when you don't specifically have a system for asking for reviews. So that's something that you definitely want to have in place so that you're consistently getting reviews, not just from your brand new clients, but from existing clients. And you don't just want it to be external reviews, meaning like Google reviews, but you also want internal reviews too. So no review means that nobody's going to know about your service, right? They're not that, then you can't actually leverage that new client. It means you have one new client and then it ends there. So no new clients, okay? The other thing that could happen is they leave a bad review. Okay, that kind of goes without saying, but that's not good. It's going to happen sometimes, so you can't avoid it. So if you have like one bad review, just don't sweat it and move on. Getting consistent bad reviews is not good though. It means that there's something breaking down with the fulfillment, which is not going to give you good brand presence. That means you're going to have negative brand presence. So people will definitely talk about their negative experiences way more than they'll talk about their positive experiences. So what does that mean? You start to build bad brand association, or in layman's terms, a bad reputation, right? So people will associate your brand with bad fulfillment or low quality service. You definitely don't want that. So this is all to say, everything from here to here needs to work really smoothly. So even if when they're going from a lead to a client, they have a bad experience, maybe bad customer service, maybe you didn't get back to them for weeks, that could be a breakdown. From here to here, that means that maybe they got charged with something before the service and they had no idea they were going to. Or maybe you forgot something that they told you already like multiple times about their house. So that could be a breakdown. And then from here to here, when you're actually fulfilling the service and waiting for that review, obviously like the bad thing is providing bad service. So that could look like multiple different things. It could mean the cleaners actually did a bad job, or it could mean that they were misaligned with their expectations. So maybe they thought you were doing a certain area of the house, but you did a different area of the house. So many things can happen here, but you want to make sure all of this goes smoothly so that we can get here. Okay, so you're like, okay, great. We're gonna leverage our current client base. Once we've done that though, how do we get more leads? So as you can imagine, there are so many ways to get more leads, but let's just talk about like the main three. So I break it down into 3 categories, right? Okay, so let's do it this way. So referrals can be leads. It's not like a referral is already a client, right? Like you still have to take them through your sales pipeline. So you've got your referrals, you've got cold outreach, or cold leads, excuse me, and you've got warm leads. Now, referrals are technically warm leads, but referrals are going to close at a higher percentage, so I like to put them in their own category. So if you're closing a low percentage of referrals, go back and look at your sales pipeline because something could be missing there. Okay, so these are the 3 ways. Now let's break it down between cold versus warm. So how do we get cold leads? Okay, so we're thinking cold calls, door hangers, cold DMing. DMing meaning social media, right? Because you can DM on Instagram and Facebook if you're using your personal Facebook. You can reach cold audiences with organic content. You can't really do that with like stories. So if all you're doing is showing up on your stories, remember that you're not reaching a cold audience unless you're directly like adding people, but those I would still consider warm if they're watching a lot of your content. So just remember that cold audiences are going to be reached usually with reels, but then on Facebook you can, have people share your stuff and all of that. So we're going to say organic, reels, and then Facebook. Cold emailing. Now remember that cold emailing has some compliance that you have to worry about. So make sure that you're looking into that before you build out an entire strategy around it. You can go in person, right? So think brochures, handing out brochures. If you are looking for small businesses, you can hand the brochure, walk in and introduce yourself. And last but not least on this list anyway, obviously there's more things that you can do, but just to end this list, we're gonna go with ads and boosted posts. So that's another way that you can reach a cold audience, because remember when you're putting out that organic content, if you're putting it out in a certain way, it's only gonna reach your current audience, meaning the people that follow you. Okay, for warm, these are people, think cold are people that you need to introduce yourself to. So somebody who doesn't know your company, they haven't been introduced to you. Warm is somebody who's been introduced to your service, so they know about you. So when you're reaching out to them, you're not saying, hi, this is Morgan with such and such cleaning company, because they already know it's you, right? So think of that as warm. So somebody who could potentially be interested in your service. You just haven't talked to them yet. Or warm could be somebody that you've talked to multiple times that used to be a cold lead that is showing interest. So warm leads can be reached out to in all of these ways. So you can do calling. You can also do targeted door hangers. You can also do DMing. You can also do organic. But for this type of lead, a warm lead, these are going to be people who already follow you, likely. So you're going to be posting stories or maybe stills on Facebook that aren't shared, that just go to your feed. That's going to be something that you can do to reach your warm leads. So I'm going to put stills and stories. You can also email warm leads. So if somebody has interacted with your stuff or filled out a questionnaire with their contact info and said that you could email them, then you can also email them. That would be warm outreach. You can do in-person stuff still, right? And you can still do ads and boosted posts, and people who are warm leads might be able to see that. One big one that I didn't put on here is events. So if you have some sort of marketing material and an offer, you can utilize those at events. And by an offer, I just mean like an offer for new clients, like in a first time clean for $80 or something like that. Whatever your offer is, make sure it makes sense for your company. But if you have marketing material and an offer, you can definitely go to events, rent out a booth, and get a ton of leads from there. Giveaways are great for events too, because then you can, gather contact information. Those would then be warm leads that you could reach out to and market to. So as you can see, there are literally like a ton of ways that you can get new clients. What I like to do is stick to just a couple things. So if you are new to this industry, you're trying to get your first few clients, make sure that you're not trying all of these things. It's going to be super overwhelming and you're going to do none of them very well. That's kind of just how it goes because you only have so much time. So pick just a couple of them and make sure that you're doing them really well. You're putting a lot of effort into making it a very customized experience for your leads, and make sure that it's something that they'll actually respond to. And just to give you a very specific suggestion, if you are just starting out, you're just getting your first batch of clients and you don't have a lot of money to put towards ads, because ads are usually what we default to when we don't really know. We're like, let's just put some money towards ads because I don't know what else to do. And that's kind of the easiest in terms of how much time you have to put towards it. That's what we think anyway. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you don't have a good chunk of money to put towards that without having an ROI for about, a few months at least. So instead, if you don't have a lot of money to put towards ads in that experimental phase without needing it to work right away, my suggestion is to do warm and cold outreach. I like doing it on social media because you're able to send that message. You're also able to target super specific avatars. So if there's a specific avatar that you like, let's say you want small businesses who are in a certain area of town. Well, you can already just look on Instagram for those small businesses that are in that area of town, add them all, and directly DM them. It's pretty easy. Just make sure that you're actually keeping track of these conversations, keep track of where they're at in your sales cycle so that you can continue to follow up with leads, people who have dropped off, maybe ghosted you at a certain stage in your sales cycle. You want to make sure that you're actually keeping track of them, because if you just message them one time and then you're like, oh, okay, guess I'm done, they didn't reply, then you're not going to get as much out of this as you can. Something that really matters with this is what you actually say in your DM. So please do not spam people. Do not be weird. Just act like a human when you're reaching out to them. So it should be something that's personalized to that person that you're reaching out to, whether it's a small business or maybe it's somebody else who's an actual person, not just a company. You want to make it super tailored to them so it doesn't sound like a spam bot sending like 100 messages a day. If you want to learn more about my strategy for reaching out to people, my scripts, let me know in the comments below. Okay, and the end goal here is to get more clients. Remember that one of the best ways that you can leverage your time as the owner in your company is sales. So getting more clients is a huge goal for you as the owner. Thank you so much, Jobber, for sponsoring this video. If you are getting more clients and you are having a hard time onboarding those clients, keeping all of their information straight, and making sure that the information that the clients give you before their first clean actually gets done at their first clean, Jobber is how I handled that for my business. We had everything super organized in Jobber, so nothing was ever confusing, and the cleaners never needed to ask for clarification on anything or whether something needed to be done or not, because we kept it all super organized in Jobber. Then all of our cleaners had their own account in Jobber, so they would just log in with their credentials. They'd be able to clock in there, so we'd be able to track time. We'd also be able to see their checklist, so they would check it and we would be able to see once they saved it in real time if they were done with the clean, if they checked everything off. Honestly, in my business for the first 3 years, I've struggled a lot with that phase of doing the walkthrough, getting all the information myself, and then making sure that was passed on to the cleaners really accurately. I struggled a lot with that until we started really leveraging Jobber and making sure that all of that was in there so that the cleaners didn't have to come to me for anything. I have a special discount code, so if you would like to try Jobber for free, click the link below. Thank you for being here and watching this video. I hope it was super helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.